Why did you guys decide to come to America?
We came here knowing that this is the land of dreams.
And what is that to you?
I want my degree, more wealth, and a better life for me and my family. Right, Taeyang?
Yes, yes.
What do you guys plan to do here?
I hope to live a higher standard of life and spread our culture with the Americans.
The Chinese experience is relatively unknown, but it's a dramatic story of struggle and triumph, progress and setbacks, discrimination and assimilation. But this was the dream that the Chinese dreamt for years to get a degree and escape the unsecure lifestyle of China. The trip to the US would usually cost around $50, but some brokers would charge up to $200 per trip. Some immigrants traveled on fast, comfortable ships. Others would travel in old, rundown ships for 4 months or longer. Illnesses were passed down from passenger to passenger, and there was little room to eat or sleep. However, many Chinese thought would all be worth it and traveled to the US.
What have the Chinese done to affect your life?
They're taking my jobs, making me pay more taxes. My job is gone and the Chinese are working for cheaper.
Why is that a problem?
I've lost my job and I can't even afford food for my family. The Chinese are more successful than we ever were. Chinese workers migrated to the US first to work in the gold mines, but to also take our agricultural jobs and factory work. This needs to be resulted in legislation that is aimed to banish all Chinese coming to the United States.
Is there anything other than jobs that they're taking from you?
No, but they don't belong here. They never did. Chinese people are as mysterious, strange, and even dangerous.
Chinese Americans faced a lot of racism from other ethnicities. There are many reasons to why they were victims of racism. First, they took job opportunities from Americans when they were extremely scarce by working for an extremely cheap salary, which was normal for Chinese Americans. In addition, they were very different from the other immigrants. Chinese Americans spoke an unfamiliar language, which made Americans feel uncomfortable because they were used to Romance languages. Furthermore, the clothing and Asian appearance was new to the Americans. Finally, their small build made them easy targets to bully. They experienced racist comments and physical abuse. They were pushed into Chinatowns and excluded from society. Overall, they faced many impediments in their daily lives. When the Chinese first arrived in the US, they followed the economic development and worked in Western states by working in mining and railway construction. However, as these industries declined and racism towards the Chinese intensified, they were forced to work in small businesses, such as labor intensive manufacturing and service industries, such as laundry and restaurants in rising cities. The Chinese were used to work for extremely cheap salaries, so many Americans accused them of taking jobs. Nearly 8% of Chinese households are headed by females. On the other hand, most men seeked for better fortune in America and left their wives to take care of children. They traveled around temporarily to find higher income jobs. This was called split households and was very common between the Chinese. The community pressured the government to create legislation to ban Chinese due to the abundant hate. On May 6, 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act was signed, which banned the immigration of Chinese laborers to the United States for 10 years. This was the first time in history where the United States had banned a single ethnic group from immigrating. This effect was huge. To illustrate, the year before, 40,000 Chinese had immigrated to America. However, after this regulation, only 50 Chinese people entered the United States. This law was extended for another 10 years, and eventually they changed it so that this legislation would last an unlimited amount of time. This was extremely effective, and in 1880 there were 105,000 Chinese in the United States. But in 1920 there was just over 61,000 Chinese. However, after World War II, the US became an international superpower, which gave them new obligations. Asian Americans are often restricted to certain occupations, despite the fact that they make their living in a wide range of professions. They're often depicted in the media as restaurant workers, grocers, businessmen, or cab drivers. It took a while for Chinese Americans to be accepted in America, and they weren't even fully accepted when they went back to China. Chinese society is homogeneous, and the Chinese have a particular idea of who's considered an American. To the average Chinese, an American has blonde hair and is blue-eyed. Most Chinese aren't too responsive to the fact that America is a country of immigrants, and they usually identify white Americans as the only authentic Americans. But over time, the Chinese brought with them their language, culture, social institutions, and customs to the United States, and over time, they made lasting contributions to their adopted country and tried to become an integral part of the U.S. population.